Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Customer Assure's Closed Loop podcast. Now, thank you again for listening. We're really excited to record some new episodes of our Closed Loop podcast. Thank you very much to everyone who's watched previous episodes and responded back to giving us feedback on those. They've been really positive so far, and I hope you find the new episode really, really useful. Just to introduce myself, I'm Darren Wake. I'm Head of Customer Success at Customer Assure. And for this episode, I'm extremely delighted to be joined by Ben Bax. So welcome, Ben, and thank you very much for joining us.
Hello.
Thank you, Ben. Ben is a hugely experienced senior leader in customer experience and customer success. Ben has significant experience in tech, SaaS, and regulated sectors. And he's headed up customer functions in both large FTSE organisations and SME startups. Ben has a track record in delivering step changes in customer experience and building and implementing customer strategies from the ground up. He also operates as a consultant, not only helping clients with customer experience, but also increasing revenue from existing customer bases. And Ben has worked for many organisations, including Kia, May Gurney, Southwest Water, and also consulted for organisations such as Pennon Group, Viridor, Biffa, and Lightfoot, amongst many others. So, great to be joined by you, Ben, and thanks for giving up some time to join this podcast.
No, you're welcome. Thanks for having me on. It'll be interesting as always when we chat, Darren. Thanks for that intro. Almost made me sound like I know what I'm doing. Thank you.
It does indeed. Yeah, it does indeed. So, which of course you do. So on this particular episode, I wanted just to talk about CX challenges in today's environment. So today's environment is quite volatile. There's uncertain economic and geopolitical things going on in the news. We all know about things like that. So how does that impact CX? And talking about could CX be regarded as a bit of a nice to have? And in some organizations, is there a risk of facing cuts or reductions in teams? So one thing we're quite keen to always think about is how can CX still be used to deliver competitive advantage? I'm curious what your thoughts on that might be, Ben.
Yeah, sure. I think that's a really interesting and quite poignant topic at the moment. Certainly, lots of customer experience leaders that I'm talking to at the moment share those concerns about the world is quite volatile economically. There is pressure on budgets all the time, and sometimes CX leaders feel like their voice is the least likely to be heard at board level. I think it's twofold. I think boards need to remember that you can take some cost out of the business and make it really, really lean, but if you let your existing customer base down, it will bite you very quickly. And secondly, and this is something I'm saying a lot to customer experience leaders, is that we've got some responsibility as well, right? And I think you mentioned in the intro about making sure that we can maximize revenue. So customer experience investment isn't free. There has to be a point to it. And I think as customer experience leaders, it is our job to make sure that we can demonstrate the value of the things that we want to do. So I think it is our job as CX leaders to reframe any thoughts that CX is nice to have and that it is essential. But in order to do that, we have to show and demonstrate how customer experience does drive retention, how it drives loyalty and long-term revenue, even with smaller teams. And I think businesses do sometimes need to recognize that it is, as a business grows, it's not okay just to throw more and more people at the customer experience function or functions. It's incumbent on us all to be efficient in the way that we deliver service. I think the other thing I'm having lots of conversations with people at the moment about is just aligning the customer experience strategy with business resilience, for the want of a better term. So how do we connect that customer experience really with the broader needs of the business to sort of reduce risk, and sort of, especially during economic and even political turbulence? I think resilience is is something that's essential right across the board. And I think that resilience leads neatly into when you do have economic pressures, you might not be able to do everything that you want to do as a customer experience leader, but prioritize the high impact touch points. So invest in the moments that matter is a phrase that I like to use. And for a B2C business, that's typically, where are the customer pain points today? Is it onboarding a customer? Is it post-sale support? And linked to those, where are the opportunities to maximize your return on investment for the investment that you do want to make in customer experience? And I think just using data, Darren, is so important. It's your friend. You can operate on gut instinct, but using data to help you get your business case across the line is something that's very, very important, I think, in the economic climate at the moment.
Yeah, no, I think that you make some really, really good points there, Ben, and I agree with all those. I think often CX leaders can fall into a trap where they think what the business wants from them is for them to provide KPI scores like an NPS score or CSAT score, and just providing some sort of metrics back to the business. But really, that's simply not enough. It's kind of got to go to a bit more detail, deeper in exactly what you were saying there, of what those scores are showing and what is driving the KPIs that really matter to the business. So that they're not really, okay, boardrooms do fixate about NPS, and too much obviously is a common argument. The numbers they really care about is obviously revenue, customer churn, the bottom line, reducing cost out, taking cost out of the business, but also maximizing revenues, and the voice of the customer is very much a kind of proxy that can tell them where they need to make changes, where they need to make investments in behaviors or systems or processes to make a difference to the numbers that really matter. And I think all too often CX leaders think my job is to get the voice of the customer or get some insights and then go to the boardroom and say, here's the scores. It's gone up, it's gone down, it's gone up, aren't we doing a great job? Well, no, if the wider environment has got pressure on it and the business performance is kind of going the other way, then the elephant in the room is, well, actually you're patting yourself on the back saying you've got a great NPS or CSAT scores. Isn't everything hunky-dory when the business metrics that really matter are different? And I think that's where there's a danger for CX to expose themselves to the question, well, what value are they really adding? So that makes sense.
I think that's really astute, Darren. I think there are just a couple of builds. I think you're 100% right in that if you get too fixated on only NPS, CSAT, customer effort, whatever it is, kind of three core metrics, if you're only looking at those and not the other things that you were just talking about, then you will miss the leading indicators. And what I do know is that you will see other trends in your data, your management information, before you start to see CSAT and NPS change, right? And if you're not watching that, you will be caught out. And secondly, I loved what you were saying about customer experience is okay today, but actually there are these pressures on the wider business. I think.
Hey, sorry to interrupt, but this is quick and really worth it. Are you tired of manual processes and never getting to what really matters, which is actually taking action from customer feedback? Well, I think you'll find this really useful. Customer Show's new AI-powered text analytics feature, where comments are automatically tagged, sentiment applied, and you get clear actions of where to prioritize your efforts. Now, click the link in the comments to get more information and really check it out. Now, let's get back to the video.
I think that focusing on your core operations is really, really important. I've worked with lots of organizations that believe that customer service is the boys and girls, men and women that sit in a contact center or customer experience function, whereas actually the people delivering the frontline service are often more operational. And I think focusing your attention on as close to the front line as you can. Operational people are very often the most visible service elements to your customers. And, as a customer experience leader, kind of make it your business to get outside of A, your comfort zone, and B, your perceived area of authority, if you like, and go and work with your operational colleagues. Have the operations team got the skills, the strategy, the targets to deliver the great experience that, as a CX leader, you would want for your customers and your organization, and that might be thinking about way beyond your usual sphere. So has your operational back office teams got the technology and solutions and processes to be able to manage and measure the customer experience that you, the CX team, would want? And that might not feel like your job, but when budgets are being tightened, it's often a place that you can add more value by talking to people that are actually delivering the service that your customers pay for.
No, I totally agree with that. I think the CX person just being, oh, let's collect VOC data in a certain way and look at the metrics and nothing else, is a mistake. And I love what you're saying there actually about to evidence and prove ROI on what you're doing and given the environment and saying, evidencing that you're adding value. I think one way you do it is and this is the right thing to do anyway, is exactly what you said, engage with the front line and find out about their experiences with customers, listen to what customers are saying to these people on the front line in whatever environment that might be, whether it's going to a branch or listening to calls or going out on client visits or speaking to people on the road, whatever environment that takes, because you'll get an awful lot of insight from those people, and then a single number masks all of that other stuff. And in terms of when budgets are tight and you need to make decisions or recommendations on where investment should be made to have the biggest bang on that buck and the biggest influence, those people will provide a firm clue where that could be. And I think just saying relying purely on traditional metrics we'll miss out on some of that key stuff. So yeah, no, I agree with that whole kind of get out from behind your desk and engage more people, not just customers but colleagues as well. Yeah.
It's win-win, Darren, because I think that the real gold is when you improve your customer experience, but you actually make the business more efficient in doing so. Yeah. So I'm just trying to think of a hypothetical example, but there are things like back office operational functions that are, I don't know, in its most extreme could be paper based, so that nothing insufficient kind of tech solution, I suppose, for managing field staff. Now that would mean from a customer experience perspective that you've got no idea where your engineers are or when they're going to get to your customer. So if you invest in technology that improves back office operations so that that's then systemized, not only can you then tell your customers, okay, we've got your job, it's registered, and Darren the engineer will be there in 45 minutes, and you can kind of provide a slick customer experience that your customers expect from other sectors. But you're actually making the operation more efficient and therefore saving money and creating revenue at the same time. And I think they're the sorts of things that I would urge CX leaders to have a look at in their own organizations today.
Yeah, no, I agree, actually. You touched on a good angle there, Ben, about the whole cost reduction as well. So rather than striving about what can we do to keep customers or have them spend more or retain customers, that's obviously key. But another one that I've worked on with a number of clients is actually cost reduction and looking at, for example, reducing call volume. So if you're getting feedback or you're spotting root cause of pain in the customer journey, what can you do to put out the fires earlier in that experience to reduce repeat calls, frustration? Now, obviously, from a customer's point of view, if they're getting more and more cheesed off about something, eventually they'll vote with their feet and they may go elsewhere, which is obviously a nightmare scenario. You want to avoid that at all costs. But also, if you can put things in place like service recovery consistently, responding back to customers, putting a fix in place why there's an issue with some part of the journey, then you can reduce call volume as well. I've seen it happen where if complaints data indicates we've got a problem in area X, well, if you can reduce that call volume just by 5% or 10%, whatever, that's a huge kind of efficiency saving for the business. And I think that's another thing that CX leaders can go to the boardroom with and say, actually, as well as chasing the dream of more customers spending more, I can do this. I recommend we do X and Y because the impact will be 5% reduced call volume from customers cheesed off about something, then that's
Okay.
you can do some numbers on that and say, well, actually, that saves us X hours equals X pounds. So that's another way to do it.
Yeah. No, that's good. I like that a lot. And I think just the last thing on kind of opportunities, really, in terms of, yeah, enforced pressure. I've seen two organizations do this really well. One really large company, one pretty small, whereby they've been forced to take some cost, some headcount out of the business, which has been very difficult. But kind of months on from those events, what I'm seeing in both of those organizations is real success in sort of upskilling and cross-skilling of CX teams, and that they've had to remove some people, and that meant removing some specialisms. But actually, what they've got is teams of people that now have more varied work and are therefore enjoying life a bit more, and therefore, feeling more engaged with the customer base, but actually they understand more of the end-to-end process, so that they can help customers more than they could do at this point last year. And I think some of that stuff is really worth thinking about too.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. No, definitely, definitely. I think those kind of softer sides of it should be kind of included. Definitely, the impact they'll have. So, covered a lot of really interesting points there, Ben. So, what I'll invite our kind of listeners and watchers to do, whether you're listening and watching this, is if you've got any thoughts or examples, what's worked for you in your organisations or challenges that you've had and how you've overcome them, we'd love to hear them. So please do put them in your comments or feed them back on the Customer Show channel. Please do connect with Ben on LinkedIn as well, Ben Bax. You've got a great name, Ben, so there's not too many Ben Baxes out there.
It's not really.
Yeah. So because we'd love to kind of hear what I think what we're trying to do is in this uncertain environment where there's a lot of turbulence and uncertainty. Is I think if we can all help each other with ideas, then it can help ring fence that CX budget, which because often it might seem as that nice to have when really, as hopefully we've talked about there, it's really not. So. Thank you very much, Ben. That was great. So, we'd love to have you back for another episode. So,
I'd love to be back. Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, no, great. So, thanks again, everyone, for watching. Please do get in touch with your comments. Thank you, Ben, and
Thank you.
thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.